I'm finally doing it. Today's video is on cat eye gels, and specifically cat eyes that do not have any tinted polish with them, where the color is all coming from the magnetic particles, because this was the biggest question. People were trying to figure out how to find these gel polishes. So all of these polishes are my babies. So I had to try to figure out a way to divide this up. So this first one is strictly no tint cat eyes, where it's colorful magnetic particles themselves for the polish that's giving us all of the beauty. There are also polishes that have a glitter in them as a background that doesn't react to the magnet plus the magnetic particles. There are other ones that are heavily tinted with a color plus the colored mag particle. Some are lightly tinted. So I'm not talking about any of those. So don't feel like, your favorite gel or something has been left out. I just had to have a way to divide it so that this doesn't go on forever and ever. And this was the most asked question, was the ones that have no tint to them and that are still colorful. So let's do it. I just want to go over a few basics and terminology first that will hopefully be helpful. So I have these on this is silver mags, just on a milky white and a black nail. And I just have these going in order of particle size. So when we're talking about superfine cat eyes, that's on the left and going up to the right. And so generally you're gonna see terms like water light, silky, velvet, veil cat eye, satin maybe as well. In the Korean and Japanese gels, it might be more plumping or a bubble gel, because it's referring to how it gives more of a 3D effect instead of a shimmery glitter effect. So that's the sort of the terminology you're looking for. And these are all just marketing terms. There's no board of, this shall be named velvet. So this is part of the problem. So you have to kind of become a detective. But these are some of the key words that will help. And there's one more thing I want to show you before we get to the fun, colorful parts. And that is how the particle size is measured. It is measured in microns. Now, for the most part, you are not going to need to know this, but every now and again, it is mentioned in a listing or with a powder you are trying to buy. So it can be helpful to know what you're looking at and what it means. So this, my little scrawly sheet of paper, that's the symbol for a micron, that weird U. Now the Cocoist, their water mags, they're icy clear. They have two that have silver particles, and one has a larger particle and one is a smaller particle. This is the smallest one. So you can see the listing up there, and the smallest one they have is a 12 UM. Sometimes it's just spelled MU for micron. I've seen it both ways, but the symbol is the weird U. Now 4 is smaller than 12, and I know that sounds weird, but there are some systems for certain things that are the opposite, so I always get confused. I can't remember what the thing is, but I always have to look it up because I can never quite remember if it's flipped. So the Cocoist mag, their smallest one in that water series, is a 12 micron. But in reality, the water light ones are really a 4 micron. The one on the left is a 4 micron. That's a superfine cat eye. That is the icy water Cocoist on the right, which is the 12 micron size. So just to give you a visual, in case you run into those numbers on a listing, that's what it looks like. That's the difference between those two. Okay, now on to the fun part, all the colorful stuff. Let's look at polishes. This first set is a Double Rhythm Rainbow Planet. And this is a 6 set, obviously. And it comes with this little thing, but I obviously added the clear ones on the top because I like to see how it looks with clear, so I know what it's going to layer like with other polishes. And you can also see these are giving us that multi-dimensional color too, which I love. And these are full-size bottles. So just to give you an idea. Next up is a series of just single polishes that I collected here for this video. Just to show you the swatches, there is the swatches of all of them. And all of these, I'm going to list everything in the description of the video. And I also already have a favorite cat eye listing on my Amazon storefront, and I might do another one just for this post if it's not too confusing. I'll have to see. So that first one was Mitzi Rose. They changed the name of it recently to Rose. And let me just say that pinky peach to gold to green, those particles, when they're that super fine particle, my favorite ever. I can't ever get over it. Okay, and this next beautiful green one is a Born Pretty Shadow Star Bamboo, MY120. That is a really nice multifaceted green. There's sort of a pale green and deeper green in it. It just has a really nice feel to it. The next one is my old standby, the Gao 331 Blue Tears. I use this in a lot of things. And you can see here, there's also an AliExpress potted 3-color set by Perfect Color that is also named Blue Tears. And that is pretty much a dead ringer for the Gao. And those are a copolymer-based polish. Okay, and continuing in our blue theme, can you tell I like the blues and purples? It's Born Pretty's version of Blue Tears, their Blue Tears Aurora Mag 304, and that is just a slightly deeper toned one. And then the next one is another Born Pretty, and that's Heavenly Purple, and it's a chameleon cat eye, their name. That's MY51, and that is just an even deeper purple tone to it. And you might be noticing that almost all these polishes are Chinese company polishes. And frankly, it's because they kind of have the lockdown on finer particled, super colorful cat eye gels. It's not that the Japanese and Korean brands don't, but they tend to do them more in a fancy collection, and they tend to have something else going on with them, which is why there's not too many included in this particular video, just so you know. Okay, this next set is the Gao Mermaid's Tears. Now, one thing, when you say a set that is pretty much these colors, because a lot of different companies will have this particular set or almost exact set, and you notice these are getting a little sparkly. These are tiny bit larger particles. Sometimes, depending on what they use, these do not react as easily to a magnet as some other mag gels. I don't know what it is, and it is across the board of whether it is an expensive brand or cheap brand. It has something to do with the particular particles they choose. So read the reviews on when you see a set like that to make sure that it's not a really bad mag particle. Okay, this next set is Born Pretty's Colored Water set. These are gorgeous. This is a newer collection from them, I'm pretty sure. I just got this, and I think I had to wait a while. Sometimes you can find, if you look on Amazon a lot, you'll get to know when a new polish set is on a group listing because it will take a little longer to get here. But anyway, look at those pinks. These are gorgeous. They are super fine, and they are very clear as well. I love that set. And they are very responsive to the magnet as well. Okay, next up is a little set by Mitzi, another Amazon brand. This is the Silky 9D collection. Now, I don't have like a swatch card of these. I just have the bottle tops that I did, but you can kind of see how they're starting to shine. Another really wonderful set. Again, we've got the silky in the name, and when you start seeing 5D, 9D, then you know you're going to get these multicolored effects going on with the mag particles. So that's another little thing to look for in a listing. And you want to be looking at the photos. Don't only look at the first photo in a listing, because they're never going to show, on a clear nail at first, because that's not as impressive. They're always going to show them on a dark nail. So it's easy to miss these sets because you'll think it's not a clear polish with the particles. So you got to dig through all the photos, and usually there's one photo that clues you into that, oh, this isn't a clear polish. This is another wonderful Mitzi collection. This is called the Neon Cat Eye collection. And here I have the strip of my little samples against black. These are all gorgeous and have a super bright flash to them. And they are also super clear. And you get a lot of colors. This is an 8 polish set. So look at all of that you get. Like, I have to have them facing the right way so that I can see the flash on the bottle top on my little swatch samples. Also, a little reminder, I know these bottles look tiny, and I think they're like a 7 milliliter bottle, but occasionally the chunky larger bottles only have like 1 milliliter more. It's mostly just glass. It's marketing. So you might have a bigger square bottle and you might only get 1 more milliliter more of polish than that tiny looking bottle. Now, that's not across the board. Most of the time when you're getting a larger bottle, the standard is a 15 milliliter bottle, but you should just pay attention to that next time and see if you notice. Okay, the set we are currently looking at is another Mitzi set. It's the Double Flash Neon but you can see we are starting to get into a slightly sparkly, like shimmery particle. And this, again, I couldn't tell from the listing that they were that large. Okay, we are nearing the end, my friends. Now let's go into the Korean and Japanese gels. I do have 2 DVOC gels that are just magnetic particles that give us the color. That first one is Tangerine, and that's DM02. And the second one is Mojito, and that is DM60. And like I said before, there's hardly any Korean and Japanese gels in here because they tend to make more complex collections instead of just a one mag particle kind of gel. Except for silver. They really like that fine silver particle. Speaking of silver, we are closing this out with some more silver gold basic cat eyes. Now this is a Born Pretty cat eye again. That's just called Gold Cat Eye GC01, but this is really like a pale champagne color. But this is like, it's a fairly fine particle. It's more shimmery, but it is beautiful. It's sort of the perfect size and perfect pale color. And whoopsie, it looks like I lied. I forgot about these Leafgel ones because I never use them. So these were a disappointment to me. They will work great against black because they do have a very bright sparkle to them. So they're in the shimmery category, a little larger particle. And it's just called, they're like purple, blue, and pink colors. And I'll have their numbers in the description. But the reason they just don't work that great for me is because I like to layer things a lot. And you can see when they're up against a white background, it looks like you have charcoal bits. They black or gray out super quick. There's a lot of darkness with these 3 particular gels. The pink does have some of that good going into gold and green effect going on, but the particle size just isn't my cup of tea, and they black out way too much on the nail for the kind of stuff that I tend to do. And one more little outlier here is these holographic cat eyes, which I love the idea of, and I always want them to be really amazing, and they just never quite live up to what I feel like they should be doing. Okay, so now the basic silvers. These are Superfine silver cat eyes that I really like. Gel and Gel has one that's from their special mag collection. It's just 3 silver particle sizes, and it's the smallest particle size. The My and B is also a really good fine silver. That's the 001 Hanchan mag. And then the yogurt gel from their Bubble 2 collection, the silver, that is also a really great fine silver cat eye. So those are 3 great Korean fine silver cat eyes. And then last but not least, we also have the Born Pretty Flowing Light White, the MY77. Okay, and that pretty much does it for our cat eyes with no tints to them, that are strictly the colored magnetic particle giving them the wow factor. So hopefully this helps you in being a little cat eye detective so that you can find the gels that you like. I will do the other parts, but it may take me a while.